I'm Rob Skinner, and this is the Rob Skinner Podcast. Today, I'm talking about making yourself available to God. All this and more on the Rob Skinner Podcast. Welcome back to the Rob Skinner Podcast. My goal is to inspire you to live a no regrets life, make this life count, and multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. You ever tried to make a call and the person never calls you back? Or maybe you texted them and they just ghosted you. You didn't hear back from them. You go like, what happened to them? Are they sick? Are they in the hospital? And you're just wondering, is that intentional or are they just so busy they can't seem to get back to me in a simple text? I think the same thing happens in our relationship with God, because it's so frustrating when we try to reach our friends and they just seem unreachable. But how much more for God when he's trying to get our attention, trying to reach us? I think God sometimes looks at us and just says, I want to use you. I know what I want to do through you. I've heard your prayers that you want to be useful, that you want to be fruitful and productive, but I just can't reach you. You're too busy for me. And that's a really frustrating position that we see in our own relationships with people, but often we don't really take and just apply it in our relationship with God. God sees us and he just says, hey, you're too busy. You're too distracted. You're simply unavailable. God doesn't just need our talent. He needs our availability, because in Ephesians chapter 2, in verse 10, I love this scripture. It says, for we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. So what's that saying? It's saying that God's already prepared the works in mind. He's already got them in mind. He's had them in mind from before the creation of the world. He knows the end from the beginning. And so all we've got to do is just make ourselves available. We don't even have to come up with the ideas. We don't even have to come up with, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Oh, here's my vision. God already has the work in mind for us. All we have to do is simply say, okay, I'm available to do that work that you've already prepared for me to do, to encourage, to love, to serve, to reach out, to help people to know Jesus. But if our schedules are so packed, if we're constantly racing from one appointment to the other, if we're constantly going from, this week it's Barcelona, next week I'm going to Tokyo, and the following week after that it's back to Costa Rica for a surf vacation, guess what? We're going to miss out on what God has in mind for us. It's not that he doesn't want to use us. It's just we've left him no margin to work with. There was a study done a long time ago, probably, I'm going to guess about 40 years ago, famous Princeton study. And what they did is they took these graduate theology students at Princeton and they had them in a separate building, and they're telling them, okay, you're going to be doing a sermon on the Good Samaritan, which is about serving the poor and helping people. And so the people in the study would hold them, and then they say, okay, you need to go ahead and get over there and do the sermon. And so there was a space between the building and where they're actually performing the sermon. And the people in the study didn't realize, though, that they had set it up. And so some of the people were told, hey, you're running late. You got to get over there really fast because your sermon starts in like 5 minutes. And so those people would race over there, but they had set a person in between the two buildings. And the person looked really homeless, looked like they'd been beaten up. They're groaning on the ground, and they're literally on the sidewalk that the person had to cross. And what they found out is that the people who were told that they were late would literally at some point step over the person who's on the ground groaning. And that person, even though he was doing a lesson on the Good Samaritan, he stepped over the person and he went on and did his sermon. Why? Because he didn't have any margin. Now, the people who were told that, hey, you just have enough time, or even you've got plenty of time, take your time, you got plenty of time over there, they would end up stopping at a much higher rate than the person who was told, hey, you're late, you got to get over there. What does that tell us? It's not so much about our how good-hearted we are, or how much desire we have. I think all of those theology students had the desire to do good, or else they probably wouldn't be in theology school. At least I hope so. But the real issue was some of them were just not available. They didn't have the margin to work with to accomplish the will of God. And so in the same way, that's where we find ourselves today. We want to do good. I know if you're listening to this, you really want to do what's right. But oftentimes it's simply a scheduling issue. You're just too busy. But think about the most powerful people in history. I want you to think about the ones that God used. Those people were often ones who just simply said, "Hey, here am I. I'm available. Go ahead and use me." And who am I talking about? Isaiah. He said, "Here am I. Send me." Say, "Hey, right here." Raise his hands. "Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm ready, Lord. Go ahead and send me." That's availability. How about Mary, the mother of Jesus? The angel Gabriel came to her. She said, "I'm the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said." She just basically said, "Okay, I'm free. Go ahead. This is a little scary. I'm pretty young. I'm a virgin, but go ahead. I'm here." What about the disciples? They're fishing. They'd heard about Jesus. They'd seen him through the ministry of John. But when he came along again and he said, "Come follow me," they were ready. Even though they were busy, they're in the act of working with their father. And in their business of fishing, they dropped their nets and followed him. That shows availability. That's what's in common with all of them. They created space in their lives for God to act. So here's the question for you. Are you available to God? Or are you so busy, so overcommitted, that if God nudged you to stop and pray with someone, or to serve, or to share your faith, or even just taking the time to listen to someone's situation on the phone, or in the fellowship, just having a good talk, maybe person's really struggling with something, you just go, "Hey, hold on a second, let me give you my full attention." Or would you have to say, "I'm sorry, Lord, I just don't have time to do that"? And that's where some of us are at. We're so frustrated, and at the same time, it's our very ambition that's really choking us out spiritually. Many of us are professionals. You live in a big city, your schedule's totally packed. But spiritual fruit does not come from how busy you are or from busyness. It comes from being connected and available. Was in a church at one point in time, and a person joined the church, placed membership. The reason why they placed membership is they said, "I want to make disciples. I have not been making disciples, and I want to make disciples." And I thought, that's fantastic. That's great. This is exciting. The person was a high level executive, super powered. I mean, just really peak of their career. And I thought, this is fantastic. And at the same time, they're a very spiritual person. Well, they joined the church, but guess what? They were so busy. I don't think they ever studied the Bible with somebody to help them become a Christian. And they were a number of years in the church. Why was it? They had tons of Bible knowledge. They had tons of experience. They had life experience. They had a good marriage. I mean, lots of things going for them. But they traveled all the time. Or they couldn't maintain relationships over a very long period of time. When you're studying the Bible with people, it takes time. It takes extended time and sustained time, but they just couldn't do it. And even though they came with the express intention of making disciples, I don't think they're ever able to do that simply because they were not available. Were they successful? Oh, yeah. Did they have money? Big time. Were they successful in the eyes of the world? For sure. But did they bear fruit, which is what they said that they wanted? No, they were barren, and all because of their lack of availability. So what's it going to mean for you? It comes from being connected and available. Maybe it means leaving some open time in your schedule. Maybe it means saying, "Hey, I don't need to take that fifth vacation this year." Maybe it means, "Oh, okay, I'm going to let go my time on Netflix. I don't need to watch the Dancing with the Stars." Sorry, honey. Anyway, maybe just turning off Netflix a little bit, opening up evenings in your schedule so you can study the Bible with people. God doesn't ask for perfection, but he definitely asks for availability. So God has already prepared the good works for you to do even this week. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. Conversations, opportunities, moments where you can be a blessing to somebody, but he can only use you if you're available. So this week, build some margin in your life. Just leave some blank spaces in your Google Calendar. Just say, "Okay, I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm going to leave it open for God." Create space for him to move. And when he calls, don't be too busy to pick up the phone. Say what Isaiah said: "Here am I, Lord, send me." Thanks for listening. Here's how you can help support the program. First of all, let your friends know about it. Secondly, I'm starting a newsletter. I want to keep in touch with my listeners and the people who watch the Rob Skinner podcast. So go to robskinner.com and sign up for my newsletter. I've just started it. I just feeling like I want to keep in better touch with people. I want to know what's going on in your life, and I'll let you know what's happening in my life. Go to robskinner.com, sign up for my newsletter, and let's keep in touch. Because my goal is to inspire you to make this life count, live a no regrets life, and multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. Have a great day and make this life count.